Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What is up? This one is a super late night live stream. We're gonna keep this one quick. I'm gonna try and finish this one in 30 minutes because I gotta get going to bed. Yeah, these live streams are extra late because it's finals week at school. Well, like, my finals are like almost done, but during this time I'm just spending like all day doing my schoolwork and stuff. It takes me till pretty late at night to finish it, but I still wanted to get something posted, so here we are. JB, what's up? Crawler said dog sleep. I will after this stream. I just wanted to make sure I got something posted, and this is something that I've been wanting to yap about for a minute, just talking about why Knuckle is underrated. He's a genuinely goated character. So I think we should just go ahead and get on into it. Like I said, I'm going to try and keep this one to about 30 minutes. And it's super late. It's like 4 a.m. Is what it is. All right, let's go. So, forgive me for my cat crying. She wants to come into this room, but I can't let her in here when I do live streams, or she just messes the stream up real bad. I said, man, Lilo's go to sleep. I will after the stream, my friend. I will. But all right, let's get to this, okay? So, let's just talk about a few different things about Knuckle. So, first off, at the start of the Chimera Ant arc, while Gon and Killua were going through the middle of their training, one of the things that they were tasked with doing was, like, fighting Knuckle while they were tired. Okay, so Gon and Killua weren't at full power because they were exhausted, but it was still like Gon and Killua fighting him at the same time, and Knuckle was able to beat them easily, not even using half of his power while they were in this tired state. Then in the Viz manga translation, it says that Kite's physical strength is as good as Kite's, or like on par with Kite's, meaning like he's about physically as strong as Kite is in overall just raw strength. But that doesn't mean he's as skilled of a fighter as Kite is. And Kite does have better statements in the anime, like Kite stated to be stronger than a Nen Master. Meanwhile, like, Knuckle himself is never stated to be a Nen Master, but Knuckle is stated to be extremely experienced, an extremely experienced pro. Like, honestly, all throughout the Chimera Ant arc, Knuckle's experience as a pro is gassed up multiple times. So it's actually pretty fascinating. Kona, hey, what's up, Kona? He said Lilo versus Sleep is not close. Honestly, very true. Another thing about Knuckle is that he's so kind that it's honestly a bit weird that he's even a hunter at all. Like, as I was reading these parts of the series, this part of the series over again, I was like wondering why he was a hunter at all. Like, he is well liked by animals, but his weakness is his kindness, actually, and that's like shown multiple times throughout the arc. So here's another thing, like showing off his experience. He was able to predict Gon's moves just by looking at the flow of his aura. Genthru also does the same thing when fighting Gon, but this is a more experienced Gon. This is a Gon who fought Genthru, then fought a few Chimera Ants, then trained with Bisky for almost an entire month at this point, and Knuckle could still like just predict Gon's moves by looking at the flow of his aura. But but to be completely fair, like, Gon's training with Bisky this time, actually no, he did get battle experience because he fought every day for those 28 days. It was like he would do the Ken training or Ren training, whichever you want to call it, and then he would go and battle Knuckle immediately afterwards. So each of those fights was like battle experience for Gon. And this was day number 28. I believe this was day 28 out of the month, when they had this interaction here. And he could still like tell Gon's moves by reading the flow of his aura, which is pretty impressive. Like, he's reading a more experienced Gon's aura than Genthru did. Another thing is, like, he straight up states that Gon lacks experience. That's like Gon's biggest weakness, is that he just hasn't had enough Nen battles yet. which is actually really impressive from Knuckle's standpoint, because Gon like spent the entire arc of Greed Island just fighting. I believe in verse, Greed Island was about 6 months long, and Gon and Killua fought Nen battles every single day, sometimes multiple in a day. So if you like add all of that up, and you let's just say Gon fought one Nen battle a day for all 6 months, that would be about 180 Nen battles, plus the ones he has from Heaven's Arena. So Gon is at about 200 Nen battles, like roughly. Like that's a pretty low ball, because I think there were days where he had multiple Nen battles at once, and then certain days he would fight like multiple creatures in a group. And really all Greed Island was like a training arc for Gon. Like it was literally designed by Jing to just make him to just make Gon a stronger Nen user. So, I mean, a lowball estimate for how many Nen battles Gon got in Greed Island is about 180. It's probably a little bit more. Maybe if you wanted to highball it, you could say twice as much, so maybe 400. But Knuckle, his total number of Nen battles is stated to be 5,000. So, I mean, Gon really has a long way to go before he's considered like a seasoned hunter. Okay. Another thing that gets overlooked a lot, like in the manga, they just blatantly state it, but when they were having their fight on day number 28 of this like mini training arc that he had with Bisky, Knuckle was holding back the entire time. And, well, let me word it like this. He was holding back a lot. Okay, let me word it like this. Just the simple truth, like not highballing Knuckle at all. He could have one-shot Gon at the very beginning of the fight. He warned Gon like before he threw his punch, and like the manga just straight up says like if he didn't warn him, like Knuckle would have just like ended the fight in his first punch, more or less. So yeah, he's actually really just a cracked fighter, and that like backs up the idea of him being about physically as strong as Kite. Like you'd expect Kite to be able to just one-shot Gon as well. And like all throughout their fight, and not just throughout their fight, throughout the entire month, Knuckle was like training Gon and Killua, like making them both get stronger. He was helping them with their training because he's too nice. And as I was saying before, that really is his biggest weakness, is that he's kind, like way too kind. And that's actually like shown throughout this fight. Gon actually almost beats him in this battle with his John Ken combo. And there's a line of dialogue where Gon states, where Knuckle states, if Gon didn't run out of aura, then Gon would have won that fight with the John Ken combo that he did at the end. But I mean, Gon would not have even gotten in that position if Knuckle was going all out from the start, which we see in their next fight anyway. Now, Knuckles' Hatsu ability is actually stupidly broken. What's up, everybody in the chat? Knuckles' Hatsu ability is stupidly broken. Kona said Knuckle is a minority hunter. What are you talking about, Kona? Chill on that stuff, Kona. You might get banned from the chat talking like that. But, anyways. Knuckle has one of the most hacks abilities in the entire series. So a bit of information on it is if he hits you one time, he's activated his Hatsu ability APR. Actually, I think it has a different name. Hold on. Well, yeah, okay, it is called APR. So what it does is like it builds up interest as he fights you. And we see like in his battle with Gon that let's see, 260 seconds, 4 minutes. Yeah, okay, so it says it takes 4 minutes and 20 seconds for Gon to go bankrupt from near the very beginning of their fight. So like pretty much anyone he fights, well, let me word it like this. If you have less aura than a mid-level pro, then he'll beat you within like 4.5 minutes of fighting you. More or less, that's about how it'll go. And we actually see like how long it takes for Yuppie to go bankrupt too. It was about 10 minutes. It was a little bit more than 10 minutes. It was 10 minutes plus however long Shoot fought Yuppie for, which did not seem to be that long. But we'll get to that in a second. But like pretty much the way Knuckles' ability works is if you can't beat him within about 10 minutes, then you go into Zetsu for a month straight, which is just an extremely hacks ability in the world of Hunter x Hunter. You can't fight with Nen for an entire month. Like, he's made you a useless fighter for a month straight. Okay? So, it's actually just super cracked. And Kurapika actually has a line of dialogue, like, referencing somebody's power in the Succession War. Someone in the Succession War had an ability where you could set people into Zetsu for a month. And Kurapika's like, that is broken. That is insane. So the fact that Knuckle has this ability, like, just for free like this is actually crazy. Okay? And yeah, here's where we see against Yuppie. After he sees, like, Shoot laying on the ground, like, folded like a rag, Knuckle says that Yuppie will still go bankrupt within about 10 minutes from that moment. And no one that we've seen in the entire series, like, that's a human, is even implied to have as much aura as Yuppie. So pretty much, like, anyone who fights Knuckle, if you can't beat him within 10 minutes, then you just lose. He beats you. Like, that's the hacks of his ability. It's really cracked. Now, I will say, though, that Knuckles' weaknesses are fighting someone who's massively stronger than him or massively faster than him. So, for example, like, if you could just one-shot Knuckle, then you pay back all of the debt from his APR ability and you just, like, kill him immediately. So he's weak to that. Or if you can speed blitz him and just hit him more times than he can hit you, the first few hits don't do any damage until you've paid back the debt. But but if you can hit him faster than he can hit you, you can pay back the debt. And, like, work your way out of his ability. So, like, those are the two ways you can beat his broken power. So someone like Killua in Godspeed would be a bad matchup for Knuckles' ability. But actually, like, to be honest, I was thinking about this. The matchup between Knuckle and Killua would actually be very interesting. Because, like, it would kind of depend on when Knuckle uses APR. So, for example, the way APR works is, like, when Knuckle hits you, he's, like, lending you aura, and you owe it to him plus interest. So it's like the interest kind of works like a Nen shield almost. Like, he's not taking damage until you've paid back the amount of aura he's hit you with. So, like, let's say that Knuckles fighting Killua, and if they're fighting base form to base form, Knuckle is a stronger fighter because Knuckles, like, physically on par with Kite. Meanwhile, Killua is, like, weaker than Chimera Ant Palm. We saw that in their fight. Like, he's like on par with Chimera Ant Palm, but he states that he was at a disadvantage. Meanwhile, Knuckle is, like, physically on par with Kite and is strong enough to, like, one shot start of Chimera Ant gone. He's pretty cracked. But yeah. So let's say, like, Knuckle and Killua were fighting. And Killua goes Godspeed after APR, then Killua could, like, work his way out just by wailing on him. But if Killua goes Godspeed before Knuckle uses APR, and then Knuckle survives that, and then Godspeed runs out, we don't even know if Killua can use Nen after that. Like, so after Killua runs out of Godspeed, like, uses it until it runs up, it seems like he cannot use lightning anymore. We don't know all of the limitations to Godspeed, to be honest. But it seems like he can't use lightning anymore, and we don't know if he can use Nen anymore until he charges up. I think he can still use Nen, but just can't use, like, electricity Hatsu. That's my interpretation of it. I could be wrong, but I don't know if we'll ever really get an explanation of that. But let's say that, like, Godspeed runs out and Killua can't use lightning anymore. Then you have Killua with no lightning against Knuckle, who's taken damage. And then if Knuckle lands APR, then he has a pretty good chance of winning. Because Killua's total aura will be, like, way lower than it would have been at the start. So rather than taking, like, 4 minutes like it took to wipe out Gon, it would be less than that. How much less? Wouldn't exactly know. Maybe it would be 3 minutes. Maybe it would be 2. but Knuckle would just have to survive that against like a Hatsu-less Killua. So it becomes an interesting close fight then. It really comes down to like how much damage would Godspeed do to Knuckle? Would it just defeat him in one go with Knuckle's full defense up? Or could Knuckle like tank it like similar to Yuppie if he put his full Ken defense up at max power? It's interesting stuff to think about. Anyways, let me keep talking about this Knuckle being a hype beast. So another thing about Knuckle is he was able to dodge, like he's actually super fast in his running speed. That's like one of his craziest feats. Is just like how fast he is at running. Well, he's also just fast in fighting in general. But like there's this scene where Knuckle is completely, where Yuppie's completely crashing out in rage mode. And that's the one that's in the bottom right panel. And Knuckle's still able to dodge it, like even at point blank range. He's just like a very fast character. And his experience is so insane that he saw this one time and instantly thought of a plan to defeat Yuppie. Like he instantly saw through Yuppie's weaknesses due to him having superior experience. And that's what this panel on the left is saying. It says like Knuckle instantly envisioned a plan that was close to perfect for defeating Yuppie, which is actually insane. He just saw him do a move one time and he instantly thought of like a near perfect plan to defeat him, which goes to show like his experience is actually cracked. And like I was saying earlier, the panel on the right here shows like how much experience he actually has. It's gassed up multiple times throughout the arc. Like you see it here, it says it in the right panel, his experience is nuts. And then it says it here as well on the right panel, where we get an actual number to it, where Knuckle is stated to be a veteran of over 5,000 battles. And all of his experience in fighting like gives him perks. Like he's able to just quantify how strong people are just looking at them, like based off of like the previous people he's fought. And he's also fought a ton of people that were like even stronger than he was and survived. So it shows he's a very skilled and experienced Nen user. But him being a veteran of over 5,000 Nen battles is actually insane. Because if you think about that, there's only 365 days in a year. So for him to have 5,000 Nen battles, let's say that he had one every day, that would take 13 years, which is actually very possible. That's actually very possible. And the reason I say they're Nen battles is because this was a scene where it's talking about like how he can roughly gauge people's aura, just looking at them based off of his previous experience. So like those 5,000 battles had to be like people who all had aura as well. So it's like, that's why I say it's 5,000 Nen battles, just like clarifying that real quick. And I will also need to check the anime dialogue, because this is the Viz translation. The anime might just straight up say that there were 5,000 Nen battles. But anyways, yeah, that's actually insane. Like he has 5,000 of them. And that equates to about 13 years worth of fighting if he did one battle every single day. But he likely had some days where he had more than one fight, similar to what Gon did. Basically, it's like he did Greed Island like 10 times over. Like it's just actually insane how much experience he has. And yeah, he's just a different kind of guy. Now, the last thing I wanted to say about Knuckle is he's actually like heavily inspired by two of the main characters from Takashi's previous work, Yusuke and Kuwabara. These are like these are two of the main characters from YuYu Hakusho. Knuckle's kind of like a fusion of them. Like if you've read YuYu Hakusho or if you've watched the anime, you might have just immediately noticed that. Like not only does he have like both of their personalities in one human, but he looks like a genuine fusion of them. Like honestly, I would say that he's more like, his personality is exactly like Kuwabara's, like to a T. He's pretty much, if you just took Kuwabara and put him in Hunter x Hunter and then just made him look a little bit more like Yusuke, then you get Knuckle. That's pretty much what he is. So he's a super cool character. And in YuYu Hakusho, if you go back and ever watch that series, like I highly recommend that. If you're a fan of Hunter x Hunter at all, you should do yourself a favor and go and watch YuYu Hakusho. I'm someone who prefers anime and sub, but this is one of the only anime that I would recommend in dub. It just I've watched both like sub and dub of it, and the dub is just a better performance in my opinion. Like, well, to be completely transparent, I watched the entire dub like 3 times over, and then the sub I've just watched a couple of the fight scenes in sub, and I'm like, yeah, this just doesn't hit the same. Like, the voice actors in the dub just went crazy, and like certain scenes, to be honest, like are better explained in the dub a little bit, which is a crazy thing to say. Like a really crazy thing to say. Because like when it was dubbed, I'll just say it's like the dub goes. Let me word it like this: the dub gives more personality to the characters, and like the humor is funnier in the dub. And then the hype scenes are more hype in the dub. Like the yelling, like it's more hype. The fights, a little more hype. They were just cooking. The dub was genuinely just cooking back then. But where it really excels is the comedy. Like they went crazy with the comedy in the dub. Now, if you're like making YuYu Hakusho videos, then yeah, you should read the sub, like, because that'll give you the official translation. But if you're just looking for a more overall enjoyable experience, I would highly recommend the dub for it. But Jotaro, that is a wild comment. Why am I getting so many freaky comments lately, bro? I guess it's just part of being a YouTuber. As you just keep growing, eventually people just say some freaky stuff. But yeah, that was just about everything I wanted to say about Knuckle. He is just massively underrated because, like, not only does he just have a crazy powerful ability, and he himself is a veteran hunter, but he's just super cool. I like how Togashi made like a Yusuke Kuwabara character in this manga, and made their weakness being too nice. And it's like he shows it to you subtly. Like that was also shown with him against Yuppie. Multiple times it was shown. Like if he had just chilled with Shoot, Yuppie would have went bankrupt in 10 minutes. And Morel like probably wouldn't have gotten in that situation where Morel was about to die if he had just stayed back and chilled. But like his honor code wouldn't let him do that, and he went to go fight Yuppie. That's like if you took Kuwabara, put him in the situation, that's exactly what Kuwabara is doing too. So like for me, someone who loves both series, I like respected that massively. And then the next thing was Yuppie was legit like seconds away from going bankrupt, and he like let that go to save Morel's life. That once again showing that his weakness is being too nice. It's shown multiple times. So he's just a very, very hype character, and something I really wanted to see. I wanted to see him interact with Leorio, because wait, what did Crawler say? Bro, ban this dude. Who said what? That'll be... Man, why am I getting these freaky comments, bro? These are wild. You guys gotta chill out, man. This is not that kind of channel. Over here, I shouldn't even have to say this, but no racist jokes over here. They're not funny to me. And keep the freakiness toned way down. Shouldn't have to say that, but it should be common sense, guys. Come on. Come on. I don't want to have to start banning people from the chat. But what was I saying? The other thing I was saying is I lost my train of thought and I'm so tired. Oh, my bad. But Knuckle is just different, bro. He's hype. Oh yeah, what I was saying is I love how Togashi wrote him. How like if you're a fan of the old series, you just notice over and over, this is like what Kuwabara would do. You just realize that over and over. And another thing is I really wanted him to interact with Leorio, because they're very similar people. I think they'd be best friends immediately. And they were actually both in the same place at the same time during the election arc, but just never crossed paths, which is interesting because Leorio crossed paths with Moral. So I almost wonder if Togashi did not want them to interact on purpose because they're so similar. I don't know. Kona, you need to chill down the freakiness yourself, man. I've told you before to tone it down. But all right, that's everything. I'm tired. I can barely even see the screen. I'm so tired. You guys have any questions over any of the stuff I mentioned before I end out the stream? Any questions on any of this Knuckle stuff? Because yeah, I just genuinely think Crawler said bro saw Leorio eat the phone. Oh yeah. Like the big difference between Leorio and Knuckle, other than the fact that Knuckle is just like massively stronger than Leorio, is the fact that Leorio is just more of a crash out. Like Leorio has straight up anger issues. So like I don't know, Knuckle doesn't really have anger issues. He's a much more chill dude than Leorio is. I personally, like, I've seen people make video essays on Leorio saying he's just like this super goated character, and in my mind, I'm like, Knuckle is literally everything Leorio is, but better. I genuinely just think Knuckle's a better character than Leorio is, personally. They're both like kind of the same character type, but I just think Knuckle's genuinely better. And if you actually count how many chapters each of them are in, Knuckle might be in more chapters than Leorio, which is crazy. It might be like he might have more chapters. Out of like the four main characters, Gon, Killua, Kurapika, and Leorio, Leorio's definitely the one that like gets disrespected the most, unfortunately. It's a true shame. Like I don't even know if he completed his Nen training. Like because he is more focused on being a doctor. But like Leorio in the most recent chapters has become a Zodiac, and even still, like after becoming a Zodiac, he was in like one more chapter just like carrying doctor supplies, and then we haven't seen him since. So like even now, when Gon and Killua aren't even there, he's still not getting any spotlight. I genuinely think like maybe Togashi just likes Knuckle more. I don't know. One more thing I wanted to say is I was just noticing this while I was reading the manga to do these scenes. To do this live stream. Around chapter 205, Togashi puts in a page, like a cover page, where it's a picture of Kurapika and Leorio like stanced up in fighting poses, and they both have dialogue saying, "Hey, put us back in the manga. What the heck?" Like both of them have a line of dialogue saying that. And then we actually get to see them about 100 chapters later during the election arc. Okay. And then Kurapika is like the main character of the Succession War. If this is a pattern that'll continue, it might be. Because in the Succession War, around chapter like 360, around there's a page where they have Kurapika... where they have Gon, Killua. Yeah, they have, I think it's Gon and Killua. And it might be Leorio, too. And it says, hey, put us back in the manga, because now it's focused on Kurapika. So if the pattern follows the same way, then around chapter 450 to 470, maybe Gon and Killua will come back. If the pattern, like, repeats itself. That was just something I noticed. But will we ever get those chapters? I hope we do, but I don't know. Like I've said this before, I really would like it if Togashi just wrote the rest of Hunter x Hunter as a book. In my opinion, he doesn't need to draw another picture. He does not need to. I would love it if Togashi wrote the rest of Hunter x Hunter as a book. Like make that joint 500 pages of pure text. I will read every word. I would make hundreds of videos off of it. I would cherish that book, bro. It would just be the ultimate data book for Hunter x Hunter, and I would probably read it countless times, just enjoying it, because I think Togashi's real skill is his writing. I mean, he's a good artist as well, but I genuinely think his biggest skill is his writing, and it would just be so hype if we had Hunter x Hunter books, like, I don't know. But, alright guys, I can barely even see, I'm so tired, so I think I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you everybody for tuning in. And I'll see you on the next one.